Goedenavond, welkom bij deze speciale livestream over ons werk in Oekraïne. Vanavond nemen we u mee naar Mariupol, de stad die, zoals u ongetwijfeld uit het nieuws heeft gehoord, wekenlang door het Russische leger werd beschoten en belegerd. De stad ligt grotendeels in puin. Zo ook de Joodse gemeenschap van Rabbi Mendel Cohen zat wekenlang opgesloten in de stad zonder gas, water of elektriciteit. Rabbi Mendel Cohen is hier bij ons in de studio aanwezig op uitnodiging van Rabbi Benjamin Jacobs hier in Nederland. Welcome, good to have you here. Welkom Rabbi Jacobs, thanks that you are here also. Rabbi Cohen, welcome again. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay. You have been through a lot these last few months. Why are you here in Holland?
I came to visit Rabbi Jacobs. I want to ask him some questions. In fact, he visited Mariupol in the beginning of the war, in 2015. And later on, we established a very special connection with the Rabbi and Christian for Israel. I remember that I picked up the phone in my office in Mariupol, Ukraine, the old synagogue in Kharlam Pievskaya 6. And I told the Rabbi, I don't know, I have a feeling that, it's not finished yet. And he said, you have to continue your work. When the time, if something happened, we'll speak.
And that time has come.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. That special connection, that relationship, we, as Christians for Israel, we have been supporting your community since 2017?
15.
How did the connection came to be, Rabbi Jacobs?
Nou, het was als volgt. Er werd gesproken dat Christen van Israël naar allerlei goed werk doen in de Oekraïne, maar het hun doel is om de Joden te bekeren. Nou, ik ken Christen van Israël goed, ik ben heel erg bevriend met een aantal mensen hier, persoonlijk heel bevriend, en ik weet dat is niet waar. Toen zei Roger van Oort, toen nog de directeur, nu de ambassadeur en de honorary consul van Israël. Toen zei hij, kom dan mee, ik weet dat je me gelooft, maar kom mee en zie het met je eigen ogen. Dus ben ik meegegaan en gezien en gesproken met de rabbijnen, zonder dat Roger erbij was. In het Ivriet gesproken en er wordt geweldig werk gedaan. Maar wat is dan het probleem? Die rabbijnen, kijk, Koen, de leider van het team in Oekraïne, wilde meer contacten hebben met meer rabbijnen. Maar de rabbijnen vertrouwen die christenen niet, want die komen uiteindelijk om te bekeren. Dus ik ben als het ware de huwelijksmakelaar, de koppelaar tussen de rabbijnen en tussen de christen van Israël. En zo kwam ik dus ook in Mariupol uit, heb dat samengekoppeld, maar als ik het al ben, dan kom ik natuurlijk niet alleen maar koppelen. Ja, dan ga je ook een praatje houden voor de gemeenschap. Je spreekt met de rabbijn. Ja, die zitten toch allemaal heel erg eenzaam, ver weg. Ja, het klinkt allemaal erg mooi, maar het is heel ingewikkeld. En op een gegeven moment hebben we ook besloten dat mijn vrouw meekomt. We gingen 2 keer per jaar naar de Oekraïne. Want dan hebben we ook die dames, die echtgenotes van die rabbijnen, die zijn ook eenzaam. Ja, die hebben heel veel contacten, maar toch. Ja. Dus dat is een beetje uitgelopen op een soort koppelen. En daarna toespraken voor de gemeente, gemeenschap. En het ondersteunen van die eenzame rabbijnen.
Ja, ja. And so our community, your community got in touch with Christians for Israel. How have we been able to help you since?
We established a few programs One of them called Meals and Wills. He would serve hot meals to needy families, especially elderly people who survived the Holocaust. People that I don't know, I never met, adopted Holocaust survivor and were supporting them by giving them medicine and helping them in special needs. For example, there was a lady that had a problem, she cannot move in her apartment. So Christians for Israel bought for her electronic wheelchair. Many different stories, elderly people who needed to leave Ukraine right now, until this moment, it was in the beginning of the COVID, with a lady that, Asya Grzybowski, I remember her. I remember the day when she found out that she has cancer. And there was no way to get her out.
Taken out to Israel, you mean?
We needed some connections that the Israelis will agree to.
Exactly. She couldn't just, no insurance, she couldn't come from Ukraine just like this to Israel. So you arranged that.
Yeah, together with Cohen and the wonderful team. He has a wonderful team in Ukraine. Yeah. He's doing a big job. Besides that, very often we gave food parcels. We help not only the people in Mariupol, we help many small communities
around Mariupol.
Around Mariupol in the Donetsk region. Sometimes we gave 500, sometimes we gave 300. Around the war's time, Cohen was very anxious. Cohen took the war very seriously. Cohen Karlier. And he sent a few times, maybe 4 times, they sent food parcels, said, who needs it? No, we have to buy more and more and more, and you have to give more, because people should be ready. And some families, members of the community, Jewish people, survived because of these packets they had home.
Wow. Yes.
So this is our special connection. I think we became very close friends. With Cohen, Sarah, she came several times, and Ben, Roger.
Yeah. These the community in Mariupol, the Jewish community. You were their rabbi. Can you tell us something about the community? What it was like?
The Jewish community in Mariupol was not a very big community. It was a medium-sized community, compared to other communities in Ukraine. We had maybe 1,500 people who were registered in the community. We knew that there is much more in town. We had Jewish life around the Jewish calendar. Celebrated Rosh Hashanah together, Yom Kippur. We had a very nice festives, Purim, Pesach, Shavuot. We had family camps also. Family camps were supported by Christians for Israel. What was special about our community? I think that people were very close one to the other, especially after the first invasion, after 2014. Those who left in town, the refugees who came from Lugansk and Donetsk, they were hugged by our community. We became very close to one each other. We know that we are together, and it was especially during the war how people carry one to the other. Where is Alexander? Where is Boris? Where is Natasha? They cared one for the other very much. Very close one to the other.
Yeah.
It's a pity that we are not together anymore. They are all over the place. I'm happy for those who made their way for Israel. I pray for them that they will find jobs and there was easy absorption in Israel.
Ja. Over die gemeenschap in Mariupol. In 2019 bezocht Sarah van Oort de Joodse gemeenschap in Mariupol. In betere tijden. En zij sprak daar met de ouderen van de gemeenschap.
Al vele jaren steunen we als Christen voor Israël de Joodse gemeenschappen in Oekraïne. Een van die gemeenschappen is in Mariupol, de Oost-Oekraïnse stad die onlangs werd veroverd door het Russische leger en nagenoeg volledig verwoest is. Er huisde tot de recente oorlog een kleine Joodse gemeente, waar de rabbijn Mendel Cohen liefdevol de zorg droeg voor de Joodse gemeenschap met onze steun. We werden er altijd warm en vriendschappelijk verwelkomd. In de zomer van 2019 waren we er te gast.
The Rebbe told already that I had my birthday yesterday.
Раб Мендел только что сказал, что вчера я праздновала свой день рождения.
But I have a question for you. Do you know how old the Rebbe is?
А я хочу вас спросить, вы вообще знаете, сколько лет вашему раввину? Ему всегда 17. He's always 17.
Сколько меня лет? Сколько? 38 уже было.
So now you know my age also.
Теперь вы знаете, сколько мне лет.
И синагоги мы приходим сюда кушать.
We come here to eat.
Мы отмечаем еврейские праздники.
We celebrate the Jewish holidays.
Мы танцуем.
We dance.
Мы поем.
We
Мы
sing.
веселимся. Мы знакомимся
We are happy.
друг с другом.
We get to know one each other.
Знакомимся. Мы получаем огромную материальную и
We
духовную
get a big
поддержку
material
со
help.
стороны синагоги. Я
On
низко
behalf of-
кланяюсь этому человеку, который пытается научить нас знанием еврейского языка.
I thank you so much for helping us and teach us the Jewish traditions.
What about the Rebbe? Is he a good Rebbe here?
Она спрашивает, ваш раввин хороший? Она спрашивает, ваш раввин хороший?
Еще раз не понял.
Она спрашивает.
Имя, отчество?
Нет, она спрашивает, ваш раввин хороший?
Мой раввин золотой.
Golden.
Дедушка и бабушка мои расстреляны на агробазе.
My grandfather and grandmother were killed in the Agrabaza.
Да. И вот мы через всю жизнь несем это
All my
горе.
life we feel the pain.
Вот и все.
This is all what I want to
Мои
say.
родители прожили с этой раной,
Uh,
а теперь передали мне. Вот,
My
и
parents
моим
live with the
детям.
wounds and they handed it to me. Она хочет.
I don't have words to comfort you,
У меня нету слова, чтобы вам облегчить.
but I pray that the Almighty will comfort you.
это
Прошу
не
Бога,
облегчится.
чтобы вам было легче.
Да. Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Все. Всего доброго. Спасибо вам.
I wish you the best. Thank you for your support.
Вы много делаете
We're
для
doing a lot
поддержки
for our
нас.
community.
We're not coming once. We always come back.
Она сказала, что она еще придет.
Спасибо вам большое.
Where did you go before the Rebbe came to Mariupol?
כודה וходили раньше, чем я сюда пришел.
Никуда.
You didn't
Nowhere.
go to Shul.
Я не знал, я остался один
I was the only one who survived
с мамой.
with my mother.
Я погибла.
All the rest, just me and my mother, all the rest were killed.
Погибло больше 30 человек,
More than 30 people.
детей 17.
На Агробазе.
На Агробазе.
На Agrabaza, 17 of them are kids.
Поэтому я язык еврейский не знал.
This is why I don't speak Yiddish or Hebrew.
There was nobody to teach him.
Nobody to teach them.
Rabbi Cohen, these are beautiful images of a very lively community. You already said that the community now is scattered all over the place. How is the community now?
First of all, it was a beautiful piece of it. It was very special to see it. I saw the Baruch family that we were able to evacuate. The Holocaust survivor, Irina and Alexander Semyonovich, and her daughter Raisa.
They were able to escape Mariupol?
We evacuated.
Yes.
I saw elderly person, Nikolai Nikolaevich Yosef, that unfortunately we came to his house too late, and we found him buried in his backyard. I saw Shapira, the Jew who just spoke now, the last person who spoke. We helped him and his daughter to go to Israel. I saw the lady that we evacuated on the 31st of May for Russia. And she came on our second evacuation plane to Israel. A very interesting piece. You know, I think that we always appreciate the past, or we think that maybe it'll be a brighter future. You know, our sages telling us that the best day in our life is now, is today. You know, an elderly man from our community, when he came to Israel, he told me in Russian, "Кажется, мы жили хорошо." It looks like we had a good life. Yeah.
Yeah. These pictures were taken in your old community center. You had taken up a new residence in a new community center in Mariupol. Dat nieuwe gemeenschapscentrum bezochten Alexander Blom en Sarah van Oort in 2021 om daar een documentaire te maken over Ksusha, een jong lid van Rabbi Mendel Cohen's gemeenschap die op het punt stond om Aliyah te maken naar Israël. De documentaire is nog niet gepubliceerd, maar speciaal voor deze gelegenheid hebben wij een aantal beelden uit die documentaire samengesteld om u te laten zien hoe dat nieuwe gemeenschapscentrum eruit zag. Om vervolgens te laten zien hoe het centrum eruit ziet nadat het werd getroffen door Russische beschietingen op de stad. Those are very sad pictures to see a once so beautiful center in destruction. What does it mean to you when you see these pictures?
We are speechless. It's very hard to see it. You know, it's interesting that we are very much attached to the older building because 15 years I worked in the old building. Weddings, circumcisions, bar mitzvah, holidays. The new building, it was a place that never fulfilled its
destiny.
Yeah, we never made it. Because of Corona, many people didn't show up. So we had very nice events, classes and prayers. We had a beautiful Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, an outstanding Sukkot. I wasn't there for Rosh Hashanah. My daughter was born 3 days before Rosh Hashanah. I was there for Yom Kippur. I was there for Sukkot. I was there for Simchat Torah. Only now I see that Simchat Torah was saying goodbye to the people. Because this was the major holiday we celebrated in Mariupol. We were not unable to make a big Hanukkah. We had a very small Hanukkah events. Usually Hanukkah, we had a lot of activities, but because of Corona, we visited many families. We went to other cities in the region. Well, it was, in a way, I remember Hanukkah, the last Hanukkah was a sad Hanukkah compared to the previous years. Miraculously, a man of our community, Evgeny Bleichman, took the risk, and in the beginning of the war, he went to the synagogue, he took the 4 Torahs out, and he put it in my basement. Unfortunately, all other books and the Torah crowns turned into ashes. And this beautiful, gorgeous building that we planned, that it should, at least will be for a few years, our new center. Vicious, I don't know how so wicked people can be to destroy such a cultural place, both synagogues. The old one, the new one.
They were both destroyed.
Both destroyed. Both destroyed. I still have more memories from the old synagogue.
Ja. Rabbi Jacobs, wat doet het met u om deze beelden te zien?
Ja, het geeft een soort hopeloos gevoel. Het is zinloos. Kijk, we kunnen Gods wegen niet begrijpen. Maar menselijk bekeken, wat mensen elkaar aandoen. En ja, ik maak me dan toch wel ernstige zorgen over en hoe nu verder. En al die mensen die daar vandaan komen, ook als ze hun naasten niet verloren zouden hebben, zijn allemaal zwaar beschadigd. Wat komt er van ze terecht? Als ze in Israël komen, Israël is een geweldig land, maar ze komen daar natuurlijk niet omdat ze gekozen hebben om naar Israël te gaan. Ze hadden de gelegenheid nog niet gekregen om die keuze te maken. Ze moeten weg. En dan kom je en Israël moet van zijn kant, want daar sprak Rabbi Cohen even over, ja, papieren en zo. Ja, Israël moet ook kijken wie haal ik binnen. Want bij vluchtelingen zitten ook altijd onbetrouwbare schurken die zwaar schade kunnen gaan aanrichten. Dus Israël moet helaas, kan niet zeggen, kom allemaal gezellig maar binnen, interesseert met wie je bent, moet dat onderzoek doen. Nou, dan vlucht je dus weg. Heb je nou eens overleefd, je hebt je familie verloren en dan moet je nog bewijzen ook wie je bent. Ja. En de meeste mensen komen met niks. Ik ben zelf toch geweest bij die vluchtelingen van Oekraïne, de brug te overlopen naar Moldavië met één klein zakje, dat zijn alle bezittingen. Ze laten alles achter. En bij Rabbi Cohen is natuurlijk nog sterker geweest. De andere mensen wisten nog op zijn minst dat ze iets achterlieten, maar alles weg. Ja, dus die mensen moeten heel hun leven opbouwen. Kunnen ze dat? Ja. Ja, dus dat is allemaal erg zorgelijk. En ja. Oorlog is vreselijk. Ja, er zijn geen regels. Ik hoor soms dan praten over, ja, volgens de wetten van de conventie van dit of conventie van dat, mag je in de oorlog niet dit, je mag in de oorlog niet dat. Ik vind het een kinderachtig gebeuren. Want zo werkt het gewoon niet in de oorlog. Niemand houdt zich... In oorlog zijn er geen wetten. Ja. Ja, de wet is dat er geen wetten zijn. Ja, dus ze hebben ondertekend dat ze niet op burgers zullen schieten, maar alleen op soldaten. Te zot voor woorden allemaal. Het is een tragedie. Ja. Er worden mensen dus kapot gemaakt, fysiek en geestelijk.
Ja. Rabbi Cohen, you were not in Mariupol when the Russians invaded Ukraine. Why was that?
I had a small surgery.
Mag ik even interrumperen? Hij is gered, hij heeft zijn leven te danken aan corona. Want door corona was hij helaas ernstig ziek geworden, heel erg ziek. Hij is op wonderbaarlijke wijze genezen, maar moest nog geopereerd worden aan zijn voeten. Want het naweeën. En daarom was hij niet in de plaats waar hij zo graag had willen blijven.
Ja. You had the surgery outside of Mariupol.
Exactly. In Israel.
In Israel. And you were with your family in Israel?
Yes, yes.
And then the war broke out. And you had no means of getting back to your community. How did that feel?
No, we had a ticket to go back, and we had a musician, orchestra, catering for Purim. Everything was done, was ready. But it was impossible to go back. The city was under siege. It was very hard to get out. It was almost impossible to get in. It felt, you cannot express the feeling in words. It was, how can it be that I'm not there with them? We felt powerless, we felt helpless, we felt everybody that was involved, because every other day bring more and more and more bad news. It became worse and worse and worse.
In the beginning,
I saw the pictures last, like now, that other communities, Kherson, Chernovtsi, Kiev, were able to evacuate people. And our people, they all stayed behind. And very soon nobody was able to speak. There was no communication at all.
You were, from the beginning of the war, you weren't able to get in touch with your community?
No. In the first days, we still have prayers online with Zoom. We still had Torah classes for elderly people, for women's, for students online. But then sirens interrupted the first class. And then the second siren, and I said it's not normal to ask people to come to a Torah class. Maybe they won't make it to the shelter. So we stopped it, but we SMS, we WhatsApped, we have phone calls. Then all the infrastructure in Mariupol was bombed. No heat, no medicine, no food, no water, no phone calls, no internet. From time to time, somebody managed to go to the 9th floor, and somehow he managed to recharge his phone. He used the car or whatever. He had some ways how to recharge his phone, power bank or what. It seems hopeless. In the beginning, I thought there's no way we can do it. There was no way we can take people out.
Yeah. And then you had a whole period of radio silence with the community.
Yes.
What was your impulse? What did you want to do at that moment?
First of all, we were ready to pay any cost to take them out. But even special people, people who worked in Afghanistan were unable to help. They said the Jewish community, they're not based in one area. They're all over the place. The first problem, there's no way to give the information, to pass the message. People were unable to get out from their house. It was heavy shelling day and night. Snipers, tanks, from air, from the sea. And there's no way to communicate. Where will you gather the people? How can they go to this place? It's very risky. And I was looking for experts. There was no way to arrange a group of people to get out of Mariupol. No way. Many people took the risk. Not in the beginning, and I think in the first 3 weeks, it was almost impossible to get out. And they announced humanitarian corridor cancelled. Humanitarian corridor cancelled. Buses was bombed, out of use. It was I remember I was so nervous about it. I mean, there was such a vicious war. They played psychological war with the people, with the relatives, with the whole war. They tried to break down the spirits of the people who stayed behind. I remember I gave interviews in the television, in the radio, in Russian, in Hebrew, in English. Please let the elderly people, the women and children to get out. Our voice wasn't heard, not only my voice, many people had asked the same. And it was like a cemetery, like you're in the middle of the night in the cemetery and you're trying to speak to the graves and no answer.
Yeah. Were you then somehow aware from that distance without radio contact what was happening to your community?
People in the first days, they came to the synagogue, and our staff in Mariupol gave out food parcels. They gave everything that we had: chocolates, matzah, oatmeal. We fed the whole basement, even with non-Jews. And then later on, it became impossible. Impossible. And the same small street has different tanks. Two armies fight one with the other. And the pictures, the voices that we heard from there, dead bodies. There is a humanitarian crisis. I remember this word, humanitarian crisis. Humanitarian katastrofa. That's what the people said again and again and again. Robbery in town. No shops, no pharmacies, nothing left. In my mind, I was seeing the pictures, the images of people from our community. And where is Victoria? Where is Mark? Where is Ilya, the teacher? Where is Evgeny? I hear that Maxim was injured. I heard that Evgeny's wife was injured. I heard that Ilya was killed. And it's another Ilya. And we collected the information pieces by pieces. We opened the WhatsApp group, Telegram, Viber, and we added everybody that we know his number, because if somebody shows in, was seen recently, I know that he's alive. I know that he's out of town. I know there's a way to get some information from him.
Yeah.
Because people called you also, a lot of people asking, do you know if my mother is still alive, my brother, my child? See, he was some kind of information center, and thanks God he was out of Mariupol. Thanks God for himself and his family, but also in that way he could do much and much more.
You were able to get in touch with everyone.
I was able to give instructions. I was able to give my database. I was able to know which ways we should go, because people, when they got out, the contact, they needed urgent help, accommodation, medicine, transport, some money.
Yeah. After a certain period of radio silence, a group of people from your community reached out to you. They managed to get out of Mariupol, and they reached out and said they needed help.
It was not massive groups. It was one by one family, another family. Was maybe many people went in one day, but it was a period of silence, because the temporary occupied territories, it's not only Mariupol, it's all the way down till Zaporozhye. It's almost 200 kilometers. And very often there was no phone coverage in the villages. Very often there was no electricity and gas in the same place. People were unable to speak, but at least there is a clear sky. At least, I mean, maybe they can take a shower, maybe they can brush their teeth, maybe they can change their clothes, maybe they can do something. When somebody stepped out of the city in this period of time, he's already half free. He has a chance to survive. Some people were brave enough to survive the shelters, the basements. They had the inner power when they had to fight for their life. When they came out, they saw reality. They analyzed that they were stripped out from everything they had. So the heart stopped to work. Alisa, she works in our community. She managed to get out with her husband, and we help her to go further to Vinica. She worked with Kun for a long time. And then she asked me if I can help her to get her grandmother. And her husband, father, and his wife. We came to the house. Her in-laws, his wife, she died. So the grandmother and her husband, father, her father-in-law, we took them both out of the city, drove them to Berdyansk, 90 kilometers away from Mariupol. When he came to Berdyansk, he had a heart attack. He couldn't stand it. He didn't have more strength to fight, to combat. And he is buried over there. There was not even, we have, unfortunately, sometimes we were successful, sometimes we came too late. Sometimes even those who came out.
Een van die tragische verhalen uit Oekraïne die ons onlangs via het wereldnieuws bereikte, was het overlijden van Wanda Semyonovna. Deze 91-jarige Holocaust-overlevende was ook lid van de Joodse gemeenschap van Rabbi Mendel Cohen. Zij overleed in een kelder in Mariupol. En in 2019 bezocht Sarah van Oort samen met Rabbi Mendel Cohen deze mevrouw en maakte daar een korte reportage.
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. Дорогой, проходите, мой дорогой.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте.
We took some flowers for you.
Ой, спасибо, спасибо.
Пожалуйста.
Это я уходила на пенсию. Это было мне 65 лет.
She was 65 years old.
Да, 65 лет.
А вам сейчас сколько?
А мне сейчас 87.
Now she's 87 years old.
87. И вот это вот мне сейчас сфотографировали. Это я вам подарю.
You have a lot of medals. You have a lot of medals here.
It's a gift for you, Sarah. It's a gift for you.
Спасибо.
Она вам даст вопросы, я перевожу. Ее зовут Сара.
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 Сара. Сарочка.
Сарочка.
Да,
That's what you
конечно,
call me.
У меня мой внук называет всех Сарочка.
What is your name?
Как вас зовут?
Меня зовут Ванда.
Вандочка.
Да, это польское имя. Польское имя, потому что моя маме были очень тяжелые роды, и принимала у ней врач-полячка.
My mother had difficult when she gave birth to me, and the doctor who delivered the birth was a Polish.
Если будут благополучные роды, я назову свою дочку в честь вас Вандой.
She said, if everything will be okay, I will name my daughter in your name, Wanda.
Can you explain me how life is here in Mariupol the last few years?
Как жизнь в Мариуполе?
Не могу сказать, что хорошо.
Не могу сказать,
что хорошо. Хес, это самое, синагога мне помогает, спасибо им большое. И лекарства выдают, и обеды выдают, и все, что надо.
Als 10-jarig Joods meisje zat Wanda ondergedoken en overleefde zo de gruwel van de Holocaust. 80 jaar later, op 4 april 2022, overleed Wanda Semyonovna in een schuilkelder in Mariupol door dorst, kou en ontbering. Zij zal altijd in onze herinneringen blijven.
Did you know her well?
Yes.
Have you spoken to her during the siege? No.
I was unable to get hold with the family. Very special footage.
Yes.
She was a very positive woman. She didn't took nothing for granted.
No. How did you learn of her passing away?
Her daughter found her way to Russia without me. I didn't have the merit to evacuate her. And she was telling me the story. She cried her soul out. She remembered how her mother was lying in bed and crying or asking for peace of mind. It was heavy shelling, no water, no food, very cold. She was unable to walk. And she was going away very long and painful. It was when I spoke with her several times, with Larissa, her daughter. Then they had to carry her out in the middle of a heavy fire and to bury her in the park next to the house.
Yeah.
Terrible. These people who survived the Holocaust, they couldn't find a peace in the last days in this world. She was a member of our community. She used to come from time to time. We met her many times. If she needed medicine, Christian for Israel was there for her. She got hot meals. It's devastating to think about the elderly people, member of our community that died. I was looking for Mr. Glazin, and he was not in his house. Nobody knew where he was. You look on these people, they look terrible, horrible. People that didn't take shower, they didn't shave. Nobody knows nothing. Everybody looks at you like. And then one neighbor says, "Come with me." It wasn't me, showed to the volunteer. You see a little mountain, and there's 3 neighbors lying one next to the other. And he is there. He's one of them.
Ja. Kort na de inval van de Russen in Oekraïne begon Christenen voor Israël met het evacueren van Joden uit Oekraïne. Vanuit het westen van Oekraïne werden met bussen Joden naar de grens met Moldavië gebracht. En van na de oversteek over de grens werden zij verder met bussen naar luchthavens gebracht van waar ze naar Israël konden vertrekken. Ook Rabbi Mendel Cohen heeft die grensovergang in Moldavië bezocht. En daar gaan we nu beelden van bekijken.
Rabbi Mendel uit Mariupol helpt vandaag mee. Zijn stad is kapot gebombardeerd en vele van zijn gemeenten konden de stad niet uit. Ondanks al de pogingen van de rabbijn. Hij bidt met iedereen het Shema Israël. Het gebed wat een Jood bidt in diepste nood.
Давайте скажем вместе, пожалуйста. Шма. Шма. Исраэль. Исраэль. Адонай. Адонай. Элохейну. Элохейну. Адонай. Адонай. Эхад. הריני. הריני. מקבל. עליי. מצוות. עשה. של. ואהבת. לרעך. כמוך. Раз мы здесь, значит у нас есть еще что делать на этой земле.
Can you tell something about these moments at the Moldovan border?
It was impossible to get to our people in Mariupol. So I wanted to be close as much as I can. It was historical. I called the rabbi from there and I told him that it's important to be there, to see it. I mean, we are young. I'm 41 years old. And to see it, it's the stories like, European Jews, how they run for their life without nothing. When they got out from the bus, they just crossed the border from Ukraine. No more sirens. I was very happy for them. But I remembered my community that is stuck behind. And I spoke with them about the shelters. I spoke with them about the basement. It was fresh in their memories. And we both started to cry. And we say the prayer that Shema Israel, Hear, O Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, God Almighty, Hashem Echad. He was a special moment. It was a very short moment. It's interesting that sometimes you don't need a language to express the feeling and the emotions, and I didn't know none of them. I was just so happy to see them.
Yeah. What does your faith in God mean for you personally in these times?
We don't have the answers for everything that happened in this world. I saw how very old people find a way out. For me, it's a miracle. I saw that God, I was witnessing several times how God is protecting me, and He's sending good people to make sure that I will be able to continue my mission on this world. I saw it when the attack on our synagogue. I saw it when I had the COVID. I saw it before the war that I wasn't able to be there. I was keep asking myself again and again and again, why is it? Why I'm not there? And then I understood that God prepared for me a mission to be there, to have some guidance, to share the voice. I spoke in different synagogues and schools, and was young boys and girls, and I asked them how long you can be without a shower, without a coffee, without brushing your teeth, and in a minute, they started to think about what's going on there. I was able to give the voice. I don't know if it was my effort, because the whole world was interesting about Mariupol. But we were able to help too many people. Even if we were able to save one soul, it's worth it. The whole world was created for one soul. And we were able to help hundreds. I think that those who we evacuated from the town, those who we met after they left the town, but they still need help, those who called us from different cities in Europe or in Ukraine, they need some help to find documents, they need a place they need my recommendation because nobody knows them, the door will be open for them. I think that in the time of the war, there's no time for diplomacy. There's no time. Everything comes up very fast, and you see the nice people. You see the people who came to support. There was many people that stand on the borders, that put their life in risk, and they were very helpful.
Yeah.
So I saw that God is making me the contact with the right people, just like in 2015. I saw that it's not my merit, it's not my connections, it's people came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Dank u wel ook, Rabbi Jacobs, dat u hier bij wilde zijn. Ik wil u hartelijk bedanken voor het kijken naar deze bijzondere livestream over de situatie in Oekraïne en specifiek in Mariupol. Het werk in Oekraïne is nog lang niet klaar en er is nog veel hulp nodig. We willen u daarom vragen om het werk te blijven steunen. Dat kan via cvi.nl/noodactie en in beeld verschijnen diverse mogelijkheden om deze actie te ondersteunen. Hartelijk dank voor uw aandacht, hartelijk dank voor het kijken, hartelijk dank voor uw steun. Ik wens u nog een hele fijne avond en tot een volgende livestream.